given all this that we're talking about, and it goes to what Tim was asking, what does that mean for a neighborhood watch operating in 2021?
I get this question a lot because I have people.
What do you do?
I have people contact me, say, hey, what if there's a riot or something? Can we set up like a joint defense group in our community, right? Where we'll all have our ARs, we'll stand at the end of the street.
Like if you have a car dealership, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is the example. First of all, if you have a formalized group where you've all agreed to do this and someone ends up getting killed by a member of your group, guarantee you the prosecutor is going to call that conspiracy. Everyone is going to be charged.
Oh, yeah.
As an accessory
in
that murder. Everyone's going to be charged with murder.
Michigan was a militia.
And they're going to go to the group individually. They're going to say, hey, we got 8 of you, 9 of you, 10 of you, right? Part of this group. You're all on Facebook all together, right? We know you're all part of the group. One of you is going to jail for the rest of your lives. What are the other of you willing to say about that one person? And we're not telling you which person it'll be. We'll just see what you say. Maybe it'll be you. The only way for it not to be you is for you to be helpful in our investigation.
This is the classic prisoner's dilemma.
That would be the worst idea to
classic
ever say
prison.
to me.
So the least liked guy in that group gets screwed. Every other guy in that group is going to be Dominic Black on the witness stand testifying.
Binger kept trying to tie Kyle to the Kenosha Guard Facebook page. He tried it for months and months, and they couldn't find any evidence. And then there was one point where, and I'm paraphrasing, but he was on one of the Zoom earlier hearings where he's trying to say, well, he operated with other people who may have been part of it, and it was Schrader who was just like, you can't, we're not doing this. Right. We're not going. So you give Kyle another judge, you take away those videos, he's in a very different situation.
I don't respond well to manipulation. I have like an inverted response, I suppose. People might assume the prosecutor would be like, we're going to pressure you. If they actually came and were reasonable.
Well, he's the guy we flip on then.
Yeah, that's right.
Then you're the guy we're pinning it on. Yeah, easily.
That's what happens.
Tim was the ringleader.
Because all those other guys, they're going to have, their wife and their kids and all this kind of stuff. They're going to say, look, I can't afford to go to prison.
This ain't worth
so
my kids.
If someone's going to go down, it's not going to be me.
Might as well be
But
Tim.
this is why you don't join these groups.
Well, that's why I always caution people.
People like Dominic Black, cowards and pathetic, whiny little losers, will turn on you in 2 seconds and then still claim to be friends with you.
Right.
And then, Kyle will apparently still be friends with him because I think people are just weak.
I mean, in this Arbery case, there was literally zero evidence that there was any coordination between the McMichaels and between Brian. But that didn't keep the prosecutor from arguing accessory, from arguing that Brian was a party to everything.
And now he's going to prison for the rest of his life.
But what would you tell people? But what would you also just tell people that really do care about their neighborhood, maybe not necessarily faced with one of these situations, but just in general?
The prudent thing to do would be for each person to be, at the end of their own driveway, maybe sharing a cup of coffee with an AR slung. If they're afraid an angry, looting, arsoning horde is going to come down their street. But the moment they organize, and even in an informal way, like we're a collective group, we're working cooperatively, if something bad happens, they're all parties to the criminal offense.
Well, you know what I would say, and honestly, even answer to my own dad's question, is you have a cell phone. Everybody's got one of these things. These are so incredibly powerful. Look at how every single one of these stories we talked about, from Waukesha to Kenosha to Georgia, we know about it because of the cell phone.
Oh, yeah. Listen, there's a reason I have security cameras all over the outside of my house. And it's not just so I see stuff coming in. It's so if something happens, I want that camera footage. I mean, it's an interesting anecdote from the George Zimmerman trial. They were investigating him for this killing of Trayvon Martin, and his story sounded like self-defense to everybody, but they try to trap him, right? They want to test his story. They want to test his willingness to stick by that story of self-defense. So they came to him. They called him back into the police station. He went without a lawyer, like he always did.
I remember this, yes.
And they sat him down. They said, listen, George, we have a real problem with your self-defense story because we found some surveillance video, and we know exactly what happened. And you know what George said? Thank God. Because he knew what happened. He knew that if they had video, it was going to be in his favor. I want that video if something happens outside my house.
Well, that being said, if the cops ever come, say lawyer.
The guy in the Arbery case thought the video was going to exonerate them from the. I think the story was that the community hated them, and so he was like, "Here's the video."
I can only say that guy was described by his own attorney in court as not the smartest guy in the room.
Oh, no. That's
I don't understand how sending that guy to prison.
Which again, show it to a lawyer first.
He was nearly in tears when they were reading the verdict, and I'm like, this dumb guy driving a car filming something gives out the footage to be like, here's what happened, and now he's going to prison.
That sucks.
I don't. This is why people say I will not be involved.
By the way, another reason not to be part of a group. One member of that group might be Roddy Bryan,
Yeah.
right? Might do something that basically blows everything up.
You know, when I was a kid, my dad would always be like, "If you ever commit a crime, do it by yourself." But it was not like a
Wise.
literal. It was a point about how, you know, make sure when you're teaming up with people, you don't have idiots with you. So that, like, he didn't literally mean go commit.
Listen,
crimes.
I've got a lot of friends in law enforcement. They'll tell me that the hardest cases they have to solve is where the bad guy did it by himself and didn't say a word to anybody.
Right.
Because that's how you break those cases, is when they have accessories
Somebody
in the
always
crime,
talks.
someone who will talk,
Yeah.
or they told someone and that person
Well,
will
it's a
talk.
lot of